Hello, everybody, and welcome to Sitting with Sean Extraordinary, episode 9. Holy crap, I got episode 9. This is wild. This is wild. Today's guest is a pretty awesome individual from Ohio. It's Lourdes. How you doing?
Good. How are you doing?
I'm great. I great. Can't be better. Can't be better. So would you like to give a formal introduction of yourself?
Sure. I'm Lourdes. I also go by Audrey Nicole. I have a TikTok, a YouTube, and an Instagram. I live here in Ohio. It's a pretty hot day today. And one of the things I like doing is hiking, which I'm actually doing right now, and enjoying the beautiful sunshine.
Yeah, definitely. It's pretty warm. I live in Alaska, and it's super warm today, like to the point I had to go buy fans. I bought an industrial size fan for my living room.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, because we don't have AC in our houses up here. So yeah, you open up the windows and try and get the air to circulate in and out, and it just comes in and it's hot all the time.
Yeah, I need to get one of those. Those fans would be great.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome and it works wonders. I put it in my house, plugged in, and I was like, oh, it
It's
feels
so
so good. It
nice.
feels so good. Yeah. Yeah, but like Lourdes said, I seen a lot of her content on TikTok, and it just so happened one of her videos popped up, and I swear the universe uses TikTok in the way that we need it because one of her videos popped up in a time where I needed something, and I was like, "Good God, wow, that's awesome!" And yeah, so. And I think it was one of those times where you had posted up something that was talking about what love meant
Yeah.
and how did you meet your significant other, and I was like, man, I need reflection right now. And so like I made a response to yours, I made a stitch to yours, and you commented, you said that's a beautiful story. And so yeah, it's been I've seen a lot of your content, and I'll just say you're one of the most positive people I've ever met in my life. Just hands
Aw.
down.
Thank you. Yeah, actually, I remember when you did like the video to my video and was telling a little bit of your story and about your spouse, and I just thought like, wow, that was really really beautiful. Like it seriously, it made my day so much knowing that like there's that kind of love out there for people.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy, and a lot of people, and I've seen a lot of responses, not on my video, just on other videos where people are talking about, that real love isn't real and that it's not, not there, and
Mhm.
I try and reinforce that, love really is there. And sometimes we're put in positions, and we put ourselves in positions where we are with somebody, and that person isn't the right person for us. I've been in so many situations before where the person I was with was not the person for me, and it was like the most detrimental thing when we broke up,
Yeah.
but it led me to where I am now, and I couldn't be happier.
Yeah, love's one of those things where it's like in the moment when you're with that person, it can feel like everything's right, but like even if it doesn't work out, it's still such an important part of like your life and your journey and how it affects you that even if it ends up not being like your true love, it still means so much to and adds so much to your life and the way that it affects you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And the thing is, a lot of people don't understand like that when you get out of a bad situation, there's still something to learn from that. You're still learning
Yeah.
like
Yeah, it's like every bad situation has some
okay,
sort of
okay,
something.
yeah. Yeah, sorry, my connection's terrible. Like Alaska internet's terrible sometimes.
I
um
think it's like internet everywhere. I swear the internet's terrible here too.
yeah. The the thing about bad situations, like bad relationships, that I've seen is people are like, oh, there's nothing to gain from that. But there was, because there's a lesson there. You just got to find that
Yeah.
lesson.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's something that helps me like focus on positivity is like even if I'm in a bad situation, I know that like okay, I'm in this situation for a reason. I'm going to be able to most likely like 99% of the time be able to take away something positive from it. And sometimes it's really hard to find that positive reason, and sometimes I also don't realize it until much later, and then I'm like, wow, the thing that I took away from that, as bad as it was, actually really taught me something. Maybe it was a bad situation, but maybe it motivated me in the right direction and inspired me to do something, you know like with TikTok actually. I don't know if I want to talk too much about this today, but I actually have a stalker. Like, yeah. And
Wow.
not through TikTok, but someone that I had known, not necessarily through my life, but through someone I knew. And it kind of ended up being a thing that's affected a lot of people. And one of the things that I can say that I took away good from it was that I ended up starting over all my social medias
Hmm.
to kind of escape the situation. And those old accounts had been so like stagnant and they weren't really growing anywhere, even though I was trying to post the content that inspired me. And by starting the new accounts, things took off a lot more for me, so I was
Hmm.
still able to get something good out of it. And the person did recently discover those new accounts, but I got a year of peace out of it.
Yeah.
And now I feel like I have this group of support that's already behind me, that's already like, it doesn't matter what this person does because we're standing up beside you because we know the kind of person that you are already, and we do appreciate the content. And now I feel like I have a little bit more of like people who have my back, whereas before my account was so much smaller that it was such a negative situation because it's like you felt like you didn't have anybody supporting your back, and you're trying to put out good content and things that mean something to you, but you weren't getting anywhere. So even though it was a bad situation, it ended up having something good from it because it had a lot of growth and positivity in the end.
Absolutely. And we'll get to that in a second. But first, what made you join TikTok and start creating the content that you're creating now?
Um, well, I was homeschooled. So I feel, and
Uh,
like part of homeschooling, I got to learn a lot of like whatever it was that caught my attention most. So I like knitting and crocheting, gardening. I'm really into health and nutrition, and I wanted to figure out a way to like spread that knowledge and be able to teach other people. And also, I wanted to kind of have like a place where people, it's like people interact with your videos and then it lifts you up, and it really can help build like your confidence a lot actually, because when I first started TikTok, I was very like timid, shy, was like kind of not as outspoken as I used to be, and it really helped me like break out of that shell again. And I was kind of like, this is something I feel like I need to do in order to like help piece myself back together. And it actually really ended up working, and then it ended up turning into something even more than what I expected it to be.
that's awesome. That's awesome. And you know what? You said knitting and
Come by, and I really really love it. It started when I was like about 11, and
Mhm.
I got a crochet book for Christmas, but I wasn't understanding crochet. So I rented some knitting books from the library, and I actually came across a knitting for kids CD, and it really got me like understanding the knitting more. And so then I came back to the crocheting, and I was like, oh, this makes so much more sense now. It's kind of like with music, once you play one instrument, you start to understand other instruments a little bit better and like the notes and everything.
Yeah.
And so then that started taking off, and actually, it's just a very baby small business, and I've had a hard time with some uh, getting it all together. But I actually have a small business called Audrey Nicole's Boutique, and I don't have like an Etsy or anything at the moment, but I have sold a couple things through my Instagram page, and it's kind of like a little something on the side that I like to do, and it's nice because I can do my hobby, but I can also, uh, share something with people as well, and it's cool.
Yeah, that is pretty awesome. One of the crazy things, I remember from my childhood, is my grandpa used to do like canvas stitching, not stitching, but like wool, like really fine wool. He'd make patterns and stuff.
Oh,
Yeah, he makes these Christmas tissue boxes,
wow.
and he's made a whole bunch of angels displays with like the person's last name on it or first name. He even went so far as to like do a whole the church that we went to church at.
Oh, wow. That's so talented.
Yeah, it
That's
was insane.
awesome.
Yeah, and I tried to get into it, and I was like, man, I don't have the patience for this.
Yeah.
I don't have the patience at all. But that talent is it's pretty awesome. It's pretty awesome. Have you gotten into any like sewing or anything like that, like blankets or any of that?
Um, I have tried with the sewing machine a couple times. It's never been something that I've like completely been able to like comprehend and totally get yet, but I keep having that determination that one day I'm gonna nail it. And I do some like hand sew mending, but it's nothing like fancy or anything. I just might like mend a sock or a pair of jeans here and there.
That's pretty awesome. Yeah, I don't trust myself with sharp objects, small sharp objects, so I stay away from that. I stay away
Yeah,
from those. But okay, so I see something. Are you vegan?
I am. Yes.
That's
I've been
awesome.
vegan. I've been vegan since I was probably about like 6 or 7, and before that, I was actually born and raised vegetarian.
Oh wow, wow! What made
Yeah.
you want to turn to veganism or to be? That sounds terrible. That sounds like it's a cult. You guys aren't a cult, I promise. What made you decide to want to go vegan?
Actually, for me, a lot of it had to do with, well, my mom, she raised me vegetarian, and then I ended up having some health issues with my stomach, and a lot of doctors wanted to take like different options and do surgeries or all kinds of tests. And then we came across one doctor. I won't say the last name because I'm not sure if he wanted on here or not, but he was extremely knowledgeable, and he did things a little bit more old school. And he said, I think that she can't process, her stomach can't process the dairy and dyes that are in things. And I think that she's having a reaction to it. So he suggested a couple of books, and my mom read them. And we, as a family, my mom and my 4 younger siblings, we all decided that veganism was something that we wanted to try. And we did, and we actually really loved it, and we all would feel a lot healthier. It's amazing how much dairy can actually like really affect your body. And for a while, from about 11 to 13, we actually went raw vegan, and it was just like all plant-based fruits, vegetables, smoothies, juices. It's an amazing lifestyle. Seriously, it's so your body will have like so much more energy, and you will be able to like feel full, but like your stomach won't feel heavy at the same time. And I would actually really like to get back to that lifestyle, or at least close to being like high raw vegan,
Mhm.
because it just seriously affects and makes your body feel so much better. At
That's
least that's
awesome.
been at least that's been mine and my family's experience with it.
That's awesome. I have a best friend in North Carolina, and when he was in the army with me, and he's practically traveled my whole career with me, and some stance except for when I moved up to Alaska. And he came over to my house one day and he's like, "Hey man, I'm vegan," and I was like, "You vegan? Nah." And he was like, "Yeah, no joke." And he was like, "I want to cook for you." And now, mind you, I by no way, shape, or form have ever been exposed to vegan food prior. And as a matter of fact, I always like right off the bat, I was like, "Bro, you're a little bit weird." Like,
Yeah,
but
I think a lot of people probably initially think that.
well, it wasn't because it was because it was him, right?
Yeah,
It had nothing to do with the vegan. It was him, because he was a massive meat eater. He loved dairy and all this other stuff, and he made this amazing spread of food for us, and I was like, dude, this some good food. And you're not wrong. I felt full, but I didn't feel like a heavy stomach.
yeah.
I was able to process it a little bit better. But the reason that he turned vegan was because of animal rights, and so he's an animal rights activist.
Oh, that's
And
awesome.
yeah, and so like for me, I support him, in everything that he does. It's his lifestyle. I have mine.
Yeah,
I might go that way, but it kind of costs a little bit more money, and you know what I mean. But um, I respect everybody that changes their lifestyle to improve their life. Um, so I do respect the lifestyle that you have chosen, medical or otherwise.
thank you.
Yep, yep. So what about like your physical, like the physical fitness ties in with with being a vegan? Like I see you out walking around, so obviously you do a lot of hiking.
Yes, hiking is like my number one thing. I love hiking. I could do it for like absolutely hours. It's just the nature and sunshine. I feel like it can really like uplift your spirits and make you feel so much better. Hiking for me especially is something that I love because as far as like gym type exercises, I enjoy doing them on the occasion, but I don't necessarily stay like consistent with any of that. Maybe it's something that I will at some point. I think it's something I would like to stay consistent with at some point.
Yeah,
But at the moment, hiking's just like it's my thing. I
yeah.
really love that.
Getting out in nature and really getting that sunshine, that I never noticed that until I started my recovery, but that can really shape and change your depression, like get you out of
Yeah,
depression. I never realized that, and like it was weird turn of events before were recording, in the time between me initially messaging you and then till now. I went outside and I mowed my yard, and like I feel great. I'm not even mad or upset. Like I feel
yeah,
great, and I woke up on the wrong side of the bed this morning, so that says a lot for what nature and the sun can do for you.
yeah. I know what you mean because it's funny because a lot of people will be like, it's funny in the day of world that we live in and people still question it, but they'll be like, why do you cut the grass instead of having like a man do it? And I'm like, because I actually really enjoy it.
Yeah,
And it like, I get to go out, be in the sun. I also have a nice big garden, so it's nice because I can, trim or take care of the garden in between doing you know, cutting the grass. And I love the whole calming, like, energy of being able to just be outside and taking care of something as simple as the yard.
absolutely. Well, you mentioned a garden, and I know for a lot of people that are in recovery, doing different things, doing something new, planting flowers is something that we really advocate for. I do it, and I started doing it because it was something different. Uh, and
Yeah.
and in society, it's not really considered a manly thing, but there's something about getting your hands dirty and then being able to grow something from the ground, and then watch it grow and come
Yeah.
into existence. And I actually just planted flowers probably about a month ago, and they're starting to come in.
Oh, that's
So
awesome.
I'm like, yeah, I did it.
Yay.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. Eh,
Yeah.
go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
I was gonna say, the garden has to be one of my favorite things because I can be like in an absolutely terrible mood and just like digging in the garden and simply like pulling out weeds, which a lot of people would say they would hate doing, but it can like really boost your mood and really make you feel so much better.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Now, what's your favorite flower? Like, you have to have a favorite flower. I don't know
I
that you have to, but okay.
I do have a favorite flower. Hands down, my favorite flower has always been sunflowers. I love them. They're just like so bright and cheerful, and I love the way that their heads will turn to look to the sun.
Mhm.
So the heads move depending on where the sun is, and I just think that's so cool.
You know what's weird is I literally was thinking sunflower because uh the first time I planted it, my sunflower was my one, obviously the tallest plant that I had, but
Oh yeah.
two it survived the longest
Yeah.
before it eventually died off in the winter. And it even lasted, it stayed in the ground when there was snow, and it still was there when the snow
Oh,
was
that's
coming
perfect.
down. Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, I absolutely love sunflowers. And what I know, a lot of people like section off their gardens by like flowers and like certain flowers. I don't know if you do that, but I literally take a bowl and I'm like, okay, we got a whole bunch of seeds. Let's see what we can mix up here. And
Yes.
I got marigolds, I got poppies, sunflowers, boom, boom, boom. The only ones I separate are the sunflowers, but like I put them in certain spots so when they grow
Yeah.
up, they grow up in separate spots and there's flowers in the middle of them. But that is
Yeah,
crazy.
it's funny because actually I used to kind of try to separate the garden a little bit and be like, okay, I'm gonna put herbs over here, flowers over there, squash over here. But this year, the birds and squirrels kind of helped because there was like leftover seeds on the dried plants from last year,
Mhm.
and there was just a whole bunch of seeds being spread everywhere. So actually, there was like a wide range of everything just growing all over the place. And I actually really love it because it looks so cool growing because you've got, tall flowers and you got the squash growing. And it makes me think of the Native American sister story where
Mhm.
they would plant the crop of corn and then the green beans would grow up the corn and the squashes would be on the ground, and that's how they'd get the most out of like the space, and then the plants would also help each other with growing because the corn was supporting everything. And
Mhm.
I love it so much better than sectioning everything off.
Yeah, it's like controlled madness. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
It's yeah, it's pretty beautiful. But what else do you do for self-care?
um Self-care, well, my hobbies play a lot into that, for anywhere from like just enjoying watching movies to reading, the knitting, crocheting. The knitting, crocheting can really help like take my mind off things. The gardening. Also just like having like random little self-care spa days with like, a bubble bath, candles, just take care of yourself, that type thing. Some days it's just something as simple as like, okay, we're gonna go to bed early.
Yeah.
Just we need extra sleep today.
People don't realize that sleep is a good form of self-care.
Yeah,
It's
it
probably
is.
one of the best.
Yeah, because sometimes we can get like caught up in a pattern of work and everything, and like really burn ourselves out. And a little bit of extra sleep here and there can really help us be like, okay, today's a great day. I got more sleep.
I'm a huge advocate for naps. If you can take a
Yeah,
nap 20, 30 minutes, do it. There's nothing wrong with it. And a lot of people don't realize that sleep actually helps recover your body. I try. My wife gets out of work super late, and then she goes to bed super late, and I'm like, 3 o'clock in the morning, and you're waking up at like 9. That's not healthy for your body. Like, let's
yeah,
try to trim that down a little bit.
yeah. Well, and it's so important too because one of the things I love doing, if possible, it's not always because schedules and everything, and you still got to eat. But one of the things I love doing is if you eat like a little bit earlier, like I like to eat like around 4 or 5, and then well, sometimes actually a little bit earlier than that, and then just have like a glass of lemon water before going to bed. And I don't know what it is about it, but like when I wake up in the morning, I just feel like I feel so much better on those mornings, like so much more like clear thought.
Mhm.
Like it's funny how something like water can affect your health so much too. Because I was reading the other day how it can help with like your sleep, it can help with your energy, headaches, like your skin. It honestly just helps your whole body because we are I think if I remember correctly, we are mostly water in our body, so it makes sense that we need that to like kind of keep ourselves going.
Yeah, it's crazy how much water is depended on throughout like daily living, and then also how much water we don't really intake.
Yeah.
Yeah. One crazy thing, and I so off topic, I have a massive respect for uh, Zac Efron, and I don't know if you've seen his documentary or his docu series that he had, but he has a docu series called Down to Earth, and what he does. Have you seen it?
I was gonna say I think I've heard of it, but I don't think it's one of the ones I've watched yet. But I do watch a lot of those, of
He's
like the series and documentaries. I really love those.
he steps out of Hollywood, and he actually was like, I need to take a time away from Hollywood and go do some things. And one of the things that he did was he traveled around the world and he went and explored certain things. So he went to Norway and I think Iceland, and he talked about or looked into geothermal energy and how reproductive it is. Then he went to Paris and learned about the effects of water and like how much the water we drink now is super processed,
Oh
and
yeah,
and that the more natural forms of water that are best for us are ones that people would consider to taste nasty.
yeah. It's
But go ahead.
I think there's actually one that's called Blue Gold, if I remember the title correctly, and it also talks about how the water is so processed
Oh yeah.
and how people get used to having like a certain taste of water in a water bottle and anything else feels like it's strange to them.
Yeah, I told people, I tell people when people are like, "Oh, why are you drinking water? Why are you drinking water?" Well, one, I'm drinking water because I don't drink alcohol anymore. But two, two, it's healthy for you, and water has a taste. And a lot of people are like, "No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't." I'm like, "Yeah, it does. Here, let's try this." And I'll grab a regular bottle of Nestle water, and then I'll grab a bottle of some more natural stuff, and put them down beside each other and say, "Okay, try this one." And then they're like, "Okay," because it's natural to them. They're not going to really taste it. And then they taste the other
Yeah.
one, like, "Holy crap, there is!" And I was like, I know." And then the more natural water, the less distilled water and processed water is a lot better for you, and it's
Yeah.
because it has all the natural minerals that our body needs to actually feel better.
Yeah, it's funny because I actually remember I had a sleepover when I was a little girl, and we had a Brita pitcher, and you know one of the pitchers that filters your water,
Yep.
and I actually remember my friend. She was like, "Wow," she's like, "There's something about your water that tastes so much better than mine at home," and I was like, it's funny because I hadn't noticed it really because to me that was our water, but to her she actually tasted like such a huge difference in the taste of water from one being the Brita filtered water and one being the usual tap sink water. So it's funny because you just think like it's water when it really have a taste, but it really does.
I did come across one I guess brand of water that I'm like I'm sold on, and like and I mean I drink other water, but this one it blows my mind because the first time I tried it, I opened a bottle, drank a little bit of it, and I was like, I'm not thirsty anymore. And it wasn't because I was full because of water, because I didn't drink anything before. I was actually kind of parched when I drank it,
Yeah.
and I took a little sip, and I was like, I am not thirsty anymore. Holy crap. I've never had water do that to me. but it's from a brand called Hint, and they add a little hint of fruit at the end of it. So, and I expected, because like when you drink like flavored water, you're like, oh crap, it's gonna completely taste like this. But there's
Yeah.
an overhaul in the aftertaste that is like, that is so good. Like, so they got black cherry, they've got pineapple, watermelon. I think they have another flavor, I can't remember, but so good.
Wow. That's
Yeah.
really awesome. I don't think I've heard of that brand yet, but I'll have to try it.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. Like I said, one sip of it, I was like, I'm good. I don't need any more water. But I mean, I drink it because it's healthy for me.
Yeah.
Um, so going into TikTok, what made you want to start making content on TikTok?
Um, I think one day on my original account, I was just kind of like, hold on. I was just kind of like, I see so many people do content that like inspires me or makes me feel better, and I wish that that was something that I could do. And slowly over time, more and more things I realized, I was like, it would be really cool to like share and teach people about this, or share and teach people about this or that. And I think I need to just do it. So I posted my first video, and I was really kind of not in a comfort zone yet, and it actually did somewhat good. And it was just an introduction video. And then the videos that started to really take off were the ones that were about mental health or positivity. I noticed like significantly that people really seemed to like focus on those ones. And so naturally, I just sort of like started to kind of like my content sort of veered that way, because I didn't really have like a niche per se. I know they're always like, have a niche, but I didn't really have that. I just kind of, it was a little bit of everything. And, but those ones did so well. And I just felt like it was, I had finally found the videos that like meant the most to me, and the ones that I felt like, okay, this is what I'm meant to do on here. And it felt really good. It felt like I explored like doing different types of content, and then discovering that that was what I wanted to do felt really good. I felt like, okay, this is where I belong when doing this.
Yeah, absolutely. For me, my story with TikTok's a little different. So uh I hated TikTok when I first heard about it. Because my kids were on it, and I would listen to what they were watching. I was like, dude, what? What? And then my wife would listen. I play video games, and so like my wife sits behind me on the couch, and she watches, and I'm like, this is just some terrible stuff. Like who would subject themselves to doing this, right? Very judgmental. And then one day my wife was watching a video where this lady had lost her husband to addiction, and she was being super vulnerable, and she read the letter that her husband left her, and I started crying. Like, I'm sitting in my chair trying to play Minecraft. I'm like, oh,
Oh.
yeah. I mean, and then I thought to myself, and I even went to her, and because I haven't really been big on social media, I have my Facebook, and I kind of started up a small YouTube channel prior to this one, and nothing just really took off for me. And I hated being on social media and all that stuff. And when she watched that video, and I listened to it, I kind of just sat back, and I was like, if the world is in this much pain, like, I think I can do some good.
Yeah.
And I jumped on there, and I mean, prior to that, I had made a few videos, like some funny videos, about driving in Alaska and like the weather in Alaska, but that was like in 2019, 2020.
Oh wow. It's
And
a while
then
ago.
and yeah, and then I got back to it, and I started posting up stuff, and there was one video, and it was my sit with me video, that was like, I did it in a moment of vulnerability, and I was like, there's gonna be some terrible backlash, but
Yeah.
I don't care.
Yeah.
And when I posted that vulnerability, it was like it skyrocketed overnight, went viral over the weekend, and I was like, holy crap! I don't want to go viral. I want, because that means at some point it's going to be where people are just, viewing it just to view it. I
Yeah.
want to I want to make content that is going to touch people in a way that makes them think. And I
Yeah.
feel like that's what you do too.
Yeah, I feel like when that like when your account is slowly growing and people are slowly interacting with your videos, I feel like you're finding the people who those that content really pertains to, who like it really calls out to them, and I feel like it's more they were meant to come across it and find it. And so it is exciting when like you're not going viral because you're like slowly watching everything build up. And I think that that really holds a lot of special, like a special place to it, because a lot of people focus so much more on like, well, what can I do to just blow up on social media? What can I do to be trending or popular? And it's not about that. It's more about finding like your place on it and what really calls to you, and then you will attract the right people to you.
Yeah,
That really holds a lot to it.
absolutely. Yeah, I refuse to do any of these, any of the trends that are happening now. Like my wife will joke around and be like, "Oh, do a thirst trap," and so I'm like, okay, but it's not something that I personally want to do because that's
Yeah,
not authentic to who I am.
yeah,
But the more personal stuff is more authentic to who I am. I do like to stray away from that from time to time because I want people to see a different side of me, not the complete serious peer support side, but the
yeah.
more funny side. So I'll make some funny content here and there, or react to a video here and there. But my main drive is I want to leave the world a better place than I was brought into it.
That's a really beautiful thing. I think more people should think like that. Like, what can I do to leave everything better than the way that I found it, or the better than the way that I walked into this, situation? And it's funny because a lot of people will look at social media as just like a place to kind of like clown around, or like TikTok was known for like the, you know, TikTok dances and trends and stuff like that. But if you use it for the right thing, it can really be seriously like powerful and really affect people's lives. And some of the videos that I posted lately, I've actually gotten like messages about, which really kind of took me by surprise because normally I don't get that kind of thing. I don't get people like personally messaging me about it. Normally it's just a comment, which still means a lot to me. But the, messages can be a little bit more personal, and have somebody like explain like why a video helped them so much can like sometimes it'll actually make me cry. I'm like, wow, like to know that they went through these things and they could identify with what I'm talking about, or they can, find help in my video really means a lot because it makes me feel like I am on the right path, that I'm doing something right here.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of people that I've met through TikTok that are amazing people, and a lot of people that are going through a lot of struggles.
Yeah.
And there's certain people that I've given my number out to that I'm like, okay, like if you need to talk, I'm here. Because it's faster to text than it is to jump on TikTok and then find the person,
Yeah.
boom. So yeah, actually one of the guys that I was talking to that follows me, he called me. Um, but the thing is it's all about making that personal connection, that human connection with people, because I feel
Yeah.
like that's what society is lacking.
Yeah. Well, like we focus on like as on social media, we focus so much on delivering like a fake but aesthetically pleasing, content, but then people can't relate to it. if
Yeah,
you've got if you've got people cooking in a kitchen that's perfectly pristine white and absolutely gorgeous and clean, it looks very pleasing to the eye, but a lot of people can't relate to that. They can't relate to the fact like, wow, I wish my whole kitchen looked like that, or you know what, I shouldn't start creating content until I can get a house and background that looks like that. And I feel like we make it harder on people by giving a fake content because we're giving people the idea of a reality that just simply isn't realistic. It doesn't really like exist that way. When you're in the real life, that is real. But so many people are looking at social media and they are seeing the beautiful like images or the beautiful videos, and they're like, oh, well, I wish that that was my reality. Well, it's not that that can't be, but your life right now is also your reality, and you don't have to compare the two, because I feel like it tears people down. It makes them feel bad about themselves, or the things that they have accomplished they start like belittling, because it's like, oh, well, I'm not this status yet, so you know, obviously I'm not all that because my status isn't here and somebody else's is.
Yeah. Yeah, we put an unrealistic expectation on ourselves based off of what we see around us.
Yeah,
And I don't think that that's fair to us as to ourselves. That's why I don't put filters on. I don't
yeah,
I mean, I'll scroll through a filter based off of like how I'm feeling. So if I'm feeling down, and that's the premise of the content, I'm gonna find a black and white filter and that's it. But
yeah,
like like I go live and I cook in my kitchen, and that is a way for me to connect with people, because food, music, and drink bring people together. I don't drink,
yeah,
so that's out. But I put music on in the background and I cook, and what you see is what you get. My stove is not completely white. There is stains on it.
yeah,
Okay, my fridge has pictures and posters, or pictures and drawings from my kids on it. My counters might be dirty. There might be a piece of macaroni and cheese
yeah,
still on the stove, but it's as real as you get, because sometimes people need a little dose of reality for them to realize, like, oh man, I'm not so alone here.
yeah, absolutely. 100%. I think
Yeah.
when you like you give that fake image and people feel like it's something they can't relate to. But when you're
Hmm.
real, it's like, oh wow, I can relate to the fact that the kitchen is messy, or I can relate to the sound of kids in the background. And it feels a little bit more real, and I feel like people can actually truly connect that way.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, what is in the future for Lourdes?
Well, I would like to focus more on my small business and actually get it to kind of have more of a, I don't want to do Etsy, but more of like a website, and list things on there so it's a little bit simpler for people to check out. Also, it's something a little bit more that people can trust because it will have more of a legit, checkout. And I want to add more than just knitting and crocheting items. I also make like homemade journals where I
Hmm.
tea stain the pages, and it's like a very artsy kind of journal, and I'd like to add more of those. I also want to continue being, I guess maybe an influencer is the right word, but an influencer on social media, because that is something that I'm really passionate about. And for the simple fact of being able to have more time for it, I'd like to make sure that that's something I can work towards having kind of like along the lines of like an income off of, because it would give me more time to really focus on it. And I'd like to do some traveling, because I've not that's one thing I've not been able to do much of in my life yet, is travel, and that's something I'd really like to have some road trips and just simply like enjoy life in a very simple view. Nothing fancy, but just exploring.
Where would you like to travel to?
Honestly, anywhere. Like seriously, there's so much to explore everywhere you go, and when you appreciate the little things, it opens up even more possibilities for you. So
Hmm.
I honestly think I wouldn't care where I went, but anywhere in Europe would be like especially cool.
Yeah, a little something that nobody really, well, I mean, only select few people that I've told. I was stationed in Italy for 4.5 years,
Oh wow.
and that was astounding. I absolutely enjoyed it. I didn't do enough traveling though, because I was in the midst of my active
Yeah.
addiction. That's one thing that I'm like, I don't forgive myself for, is like I didn't get well, I didn't afford myself the opportunity to travel as much as I wanted to.
Yeah, you weren't able to take like full advantage the way that you wish you could have.
Yep. I mean, I did travel some cool places, some cool like filming locations. So like I got to go to Florence and see like have you seen Hannibal, the movie Hannibal,
I
about
don't think
Hannibal Lecter?
I don't think I have yet. I do know a little bit of the story behind it, but I don't think I've watched the movie yet.
So there's a part where they're in Florence, and Hannibal and this detective are in this room, and then he takes the detective and pretty much ends his life, but he tosses him out this window. And I got to see the window,
Oh,
and that was filmed at, yeah, and a lot of cool locations, a lot of stuff that like I see in like video games or like TV shows or travel videos, and I'm like, I've been there. it's it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. Um, but okay, so you have not watched my show before, and that's okay. This is the part that I don't tell anybody about because I want it to be a surprise. This is the part of my episodes where I tell you why I appreciate you.
aw.
And so, real quick before we get into it, I do that because a few reasons. One, we as humans don't receive enough appreciation from other people. And when we do, we kind of push it off to the side and say, they're just saying that. But another reason is because we don't appreciate ourselves enough, and we don't really sit with the praise that we get from people and really be able to process that. And three, because it's my show, and I want to show you some appreciation. All right, so are you ready?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. Okay. So first off, I want to say that I am extremely grateful for the person that you are, and I am extremely proud to call you friend.
Aw,
Um, Second off, I want to say that I appreciate you for the fact that you found where you feel your place is in social media and in the world, and you're using that to spread positivity, to spread love, and to spread hope because we don't have enough hope in this world.
yeah,
And I appreciate you for being transparent and open about your feelings and your emotions, even though sometimes it's hard to talk about. I know that firsthand.
yeah,
And I want to say that I appreciate you for being a human being and seeing that people have flaws, but seeing past those flaws and being able to see to the core of the person and to see the root of the person. And finally, I want to say thank you for being an inspiration to me because you are.
aw. Thank you so much.
I mean
That
that.
really, that really seriously means so freaking much to me. It really does.
Well,
It really does. And I really enjoy the content that you have been putting out on TikTok. I enjoy it. I haven't gotten to be able to watch much of it, but I really was enjoying, I think it was episode 2 where you were talking a little bit more about your life. I really enjoyed watching that. And there was a lot that I could really like relate to, and that helped me kind of process and work through some of the things that I've been going through.
absolutely, absolutely. That's what it's there for. It hits the person when they need to see it the most.
Yeah, that's the
Um,
beautiful thing about it. It really is.
yeah. So for me, like on any social media, um, I don't go for numbers because I believe in quality over quantity. I believe that the quality of what I'm putting out, or yeah, the quality of what I'm putting out is going to be more beneficial to the person that needs to see it versus the masses that don't really care.
Yeah.
So that person could see it and be like, "Oh my goodness, that hit me right in the feels, and I understand it." Or it could hit the masses, and they're like, "Oh, he's just another dude that's trying to get popular." I'm not. I
Yeah.
don't care about getting popular. I don't want to be popular at all. I just want to help as many people as I can.
Yeah, it matters about the people. It's not so much about the number. It's more about like the people and actually connecting and them being able to make a connection with the content that you are posting, whether it
Yep,
be about positivity, mental health, addiction, if it even if it's just like comedy and trying to be funny, just something that brightens people's day, that matters just as much.
absolutely, absolutely. I could not agree more. Now, Lourdes, where can we find you?
You can find me on actually TikTok, YouTube, and Instagram, all at Just My Life as Audrey Nicole. I also have two separate accounts, both all on those three medias. Audrey Nicole's Boutique, which focuses on my small business, and Audrey Nicole's Vegan, or on some medias, Veg Kitchen, where I talk more about health, nutrition, veganism, cooking, that type of thing.
That is awesome. That is awesome. Thank you for being on the show. Thank you for hanging out with me for this about hour time frame. You are awesome. You are you are extraordinary.
Thank you so much. I feel so honored to be here filming this with you today.
Yeah, yeah. I've reached out to some people. I shot my shot, and I haven't got responses, and that's okay. That's all right because I'm good at rejection. Um, but I have had some amazing people, and there's going to be more amazing people, and you are an amazing person. So I want to thank you for taking this time, because you could have been out on your hike, not being bothered by talking to me, but you are and you have been, and I really appreciate the time that you spent and letting us get to know you a little bit more.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me.
All right, that is the end of our show. I just want to say thank you, and this has been a great episode. Really has been.
Yeah, I
So
really enjoyed it.
yeah, yeah. So from me, from Lourdes, I hope you guys have a good day, and you guys are extraordinary. Have
Bye.
a very, very blessed day.